So it looks like the latest version of Unreal Engine 5 brings quite a lot of improvements over the very first build released back in 2020. Benchmarks suggest up to 40% CPU and 20% GPU performance improvements. That's a really big deal, so let's look into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I would like to talk about Unreal Engine 5, a game engine that is being used in many games. It's actually the most popular game engine out there. It's also the most demanding when it comes to visuals and performance. But this game engine is also used for TV production and CGIs and that kind of stuff. And if you look at the actual trailer, actually that's a real-time demo which actually plays in the background. This is what you can actually do with that engine, right? This is all game engine generated, right? Not pre-recorded. I mean, yes, I'm playing the video, but you can actually have that playing basically on Xbox in real time. Now, the reason I wanted really to make this video is because I actually found a very interesting article talking about the sort of improvements that the latest build, or should I really say almost the latest build, because the latest build is 5.5 and the one that was actually tested a while ago was 5.4. And there is actually a comparison on YouTube where they compare 5.0, so the very first build released back in 2020, and obviously 5.4. I would imagine that 5.5 probably will bring even more improvements, but I think right now the 5.4 is the one that is the most available. And I mean 5.5 is available too, but the thing is that when developers are making games, like going from one version to the other sometimes actually requires a little bit of work because there's new things and features and changes and that kind of stuff. So not always developers actually bother to do that, right? So I would imagine that the games that are coming out right now are either still on 5.3 or maybe already 5.4. But anyway, let's talk about the benchmarks. So there's this YouTube channel called MaDz Benchmarks PC, and he actually put together a Matrix Awakens tech demo benchmark. And basically, like I said, its version is 5.44 and 5.0, so it's a side-by-side comparison. You will find the link to that article and the video in the description below, by the way, if you really want to see that. And without any custom optimizations, right, CPU performance has been improved by up to 40%, depending on the scenario, obviously, which is quite an improvement. And this is actually a big thing for, consoles and PC as well, but consoles for the most part, because you cannot really just upgrade your CPU on console, right? But GPU also got a little bit of a performance improvements there, so that's a good thing as well. Obviously, we still have to take one thing under consideration, like the latest Unreal Engine 5 brings not only performance improvements but also visual improvements, also new tech, so things like support for virtual shadow maps, heat lighting feature for hardware lumen, and etc. Like the list is very long, and that's not the main focus of this video really. But I really wanted to also say that because it's not only about performance improvements, but also visuals, right? And that demo actually shows that as well. So not only you get, the performance improvements, but also these new visual features. Although, it's not, everything comes with a cost. So if you actually start turning on these extra features, well, the performance will tank a little bit as well, obviously. So when it comes to the actual performance improvements, he's comparing, the same kind of situation, the same settings, right? So that's great news, especially for consoles, guys, because like I remember all these videos which even myself made, being concerned about the performance on consoles, and even that demo at first, when it was released back in 2020 for Xbox Series S, X, and PlayStation 5. That demo was locked to 30 frames per second, right? Obviously, we don't have the same demo on Unreal Engine 5.4, unfortunately. So, they never bothered with releasing one. But, the PC improvements we see, most of it will actually translate to improvements in performance on consoles too, right? And that's a great thing. And it also shows how software optimization is important, because you can have all the teraflops in the world. You can have the fastest CPU, 64 gigabytes of RAM and 32 of VRAM, but if your game, as in if a developer is not going to optimize properly for a piece of hardware, if the software is not optimized, you're not really going to get great results, right? And this is the thing which shows how software implementation is important. And, visual is one thing, but you still want your game to actually run at a decent frame rate. 60 frames per second, would be the best, I guess. But my initial concerns regarding performance in many games, Unreal Engine 5 games on consoles, some of these concerns did materialize, because we've seen some early Unreal Engine games running at 30 frames per second, that's it. But I think that when we actually start seeing more and more games running on these newer versions of the engine, improvements will be seen there as well. And I've already seen, a couple of developers that release their games on like the very early version of Unreal, basically re-releasing the same game on a newer version with better performance and better stability and that kind of stuff, right? So, let's face it, like Unreal Engine 5 is like almost 4 years old, even a little bit more, because that game engine, I think it got like a public release like early 2020, I think, or something like that. And, it just goes to show that, all that extra work and also support from developers, because what Epic does is that they release that game engine to the, public, as in developers, and they make games using that game engine, and then they report bugs and features and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, it's kind of sad a little bit, I guess, that we usually see the best results at the end of the generation, which makes sense. And sometimes we hear, it's like hardware and that kind of stuff, but I guess this is also the beauty of consoles sometimes, where at the end of the generation we actually get the best games, like best tech, best visuals. If you really look at what when it comes to like even Xbox, not always, because at the same time, like Rise, Son of Rome, for example, is still one of the best looking games on Xbox, or even Sunset Overdrive, and that these were very early Xbox One games. But at the same time, you look at PlayStation 4, for example, and you've got Ghost of Tsushima or Spider-Man, or these games, they all all pretty much released at the end of PlayStation 4 generation, right? Because, you know, developers actually really got their heads around like how to optimize better for PlayStation and how to make their game engine to take a better advantage of the hardware, right? And so, you know, like moving forward, we're just going to see better and better looking games, and I'm just super curious how these games going to look like. And you know, I remember, like, look at Hellblade 2. I remember when that game was first shown in 2020, and people were saying, no way you're going to get graphics like that on a console, maybe PC but not on console. Then 4 years later we got Hellblade 2 looking pretty much like that, maybe even better at some you know, scenarios. And then we got like Fable trailer and a little bit of gameplay and a couple of other games here and there. I mean, did you see the Gears, the new Gears game, like that trailer? That was all in engine. So it's all Unreal Engine 5 games, guys, and this is how they're going to look like. That's the thing. So yeah, let's allow Epic Games to work. Let's allow them to optimize these games better. I'm really looking forward to actually what the Coalition is going to do with Unreal Engine 5 games, and I'm going to actually make a video very soon about Xbox Game Studios and their Unreal Engine 5 expertise, or should I say Coalition's expertise on that game engine, because I'm super curious what they're going to be doing with that game engine, and because they are masters of Unreal Engine optimizations, they all have always been. So anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.